Okay, so welcome to Creating Calm Clarity. Here I am trying to be calm. So I am Rosemary Wilson. I am one of the consuls for, I was a consul for the Londoners of All Nations and the London Inspired Women's Group, but just recently I have become a global consul, so for the Global Personal Development Group. So I've been delivering online sessions for the past 2 years. I took a break late last year because I'd been doing it quite a lot. And I took a break. I released my book and just took a break just because I wanted to, because these are volunteering roles and I do tend to put quite a lot of effort into delivering these sessions. So I really want to be able to give you quality and not be exhausted from other things in life. So my name is Rosemary Wilson. As I said, I'm a consul. I do have my own company, Pragmatica Coaching. I mainly work with women who want to balance ambition with a sense of fulfillment, so that they are career focused, but they also want to have and explore things outside of their career. You know, having that balance in life is really important. I also work with organizations who want to invest in their talent, want to invest in their staff on the subjects of confidence building, emotional intelligence, leadership, and imposter syndrome. I deliver workshops for organizations. And also diversity and inclusion is important to me because I'm a Black woman. And for me, having a say and being a part of organizations who are respectful of diversity is very important to me. So today I'm going to be covering success on your terms. What does calm clarity look like? And the reason I put this session together, I've hosted it before, a bit longer. The reason I put this together is that I find that when people are driven and they're going for a goal, they often get quite muddled with what the obstacles are, what they're focusing on, and it tends to become quite difficult. And they see obstacles rather than opportunities. So I just wanted to do some guidance around what you can do to experience more calm clarity in terms of your version of success. So first of all, I'm going to be covering what success means to you. It means different things to each of us, and it will also mean different things at different stages in your life. I'm going to help you, or we'll talk about changing perspectives, how you can look at a situation one day and think it's really difficult, and look at it another day and think, well, actually, it's not that difficult. And the only thing that's changed is your perspective, your viewpoint. We're going to be talking about decision making when it comes to your success and your the options that you have. And throughout the session, I will be asking you some self-reflection questions. So might I suggest that you grab a notebook or a piece of paper, perhaps your phone, well, if you don't get distracted by it, but something to make notes for when I ask questions to you. And I'll be sharing a few practical tips and tools. And then at the end, we'll open up for Q&A. I'll try to make sure there's enough time for Q&A, but if we don't have time to answer a burning question, then you can feel free to contact me outside of the session. That's also okay. So because I've started late, I'm going to crack on. So I want to ask you first off, so I'll give you a few seconds to grab a piece of paper or something to make notes on. My first question is, what does success mean to you? So if you can pop your answer in the chat box, I should be able to see that. What does success mean to you? And thank you for your kindness in being patient whilst I had my little technical difficulties. Achieving my goals, money and fulfillment. Yeah, goals. Yeah, that's wonderful. That's nothing surprising there. Okay, so if anyone's got anything, being good one, yeah, to achieve my goals and the purpose behind it. Success means I achieve my key performance indicators. Waking every morning energized and eager to work on what makes you happy. That makes me feel wonderful. Having a plan and achieving your goals. So goals are coming up all the time. Balance, yeah, that's also wonderful. Balance is important. Feeling happy and in balance, very, very important. Yeah, I think, goals are marvelous. They're amazing. We all have goals, but sometimes we can also chase the goal so much, we stop thinking about balance. And I think in life, balance is important in all aspects of life. But that's a personal thought as well. Success do not exist is only a need that someone tells you to have to justify the ego. Well, it means different things, yeah, for different people. So here we go with, balance in family, career, friendship, and relationship, which takes me nicely to, when we talk about success, we are talking about, and the reason why I said on your terms is because some people think successful is about having lots of money, having big cars, having material things. Some people think it's about rising the career ladder, being a leader, having staff. Some people think that success is being great at yoga, nailing that yoga pose. So we all have different levels of what success means. We all have different levels of what success means. So, depending on where you're from, so I'm using success because I'm talking about what you want out of life. You're asking me to define what the word success means. Success means achieving a personalized thing for yourself. So it could be writing a book. It could be having rest time. It could be being more productive. It could be being silent. It could be going on a meditative retreat. So when I use the word success, I'm not talking about how the world defines success and big goals. I'm talking about what your own achievements mean to you. That's what I'm talking about, Massimo. That's why I'm using the word success. I'm sorry if it offends you, but it is it's vital because people relate to it and then they can start exploring what the word means. So when we talk about success, I'm going to say it again, we when we think about the word, we start looking at career, where we are in life, are we retiring? Are we starting out? Are we studying? Relationships is quite big when we talk about that in this space. Health is also important. For me, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2003. So for me, a good day for me is when I can move and mobilize without any pain or difficulties, or I'm not tired. So for me, my health is super, super important. Everyone's health is important, but for me, it's critical because of what's happened to me. So my environment where I live, the environment that I live in is also very important to me. I like to have a place, for instance, where I do my exercises or where I can meditate and have a calming space for myself that I feel good about. So these are some of the areas that when we talk about this word that we can relate them to. It's personal, it's very personal. And finances is also important, to have enough money to do whatever it is that you need to do. Productivity and time, that's also important. I've put just a few here, but you can have a look at what your version means to you, or what success, just some of the spaces that this can relate to, some of the categories that success relates to. So these are some of my statements. So as I've moved through life, I started off in finance. I used to work in finance, and then I worked in financial systems. And I used to work in big corporate environments. And when I was younger, success meant climbing the career ladder. It meant doing what my parents asked me to do, to buy a house, to have a good job. And as I grew and got older, I recognized that those things were not, they weren't my values. So these are my more important now as I move through life. I am the owner of a successful, heart-centered business. So I run my own business, but it has to be from the heart. I won't go against my values. It's really important to me. I am in a loving and nurturing relationship. That's what success is for me, that I am successful in my relationship. But if the relationship falls down and we break up or something else happens, then I won't see myself as failing. I'll see myself as having experienced a wonderful, loving relationship for which I am grateful for. So my outlook to life is very different now than it was 20 years ago. I am using my gifts of intuition, experience, and practical tools to help and support others to live success on their terms, whatever that word means to them. I am healthy. These are my important I am statements. You can call them a goal, you can call them affirmation, it's up to you. So what I'd like you to do whilst you're here is write your own I am statement. So for those of you who said, you know, your goal is important and balance is important and finance is important, relationships, wherever you are, write your own I am statement. And you can do that now and share it with me, or you can do it after the session when you're in the comfort of your own home and you are thinking in silence. So does anyone have an I am statement that they would like to share with me? Maybe that's too heavy. I'll just give you a moment to think about it. Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you, Ada. That's wonderful. I am in a better do you mind if I read that? I'm in a better relationship with myself than I was 5 or 10 years ago. That's wonderful. That's your version of doing better, living better. That's wonderful. I love that. Yeah, I am happy, healthy, in a lovely relationship. I am one step closer to getting a job. Great. Yeah, so Rita, could you put that in an I am statement? I mean, it could be I am financially successful, or I am in a loving and nurturing relationship, something like that. If you could put that in your own I am statement, not for me, but for yourself. I am a person that is learning to grow and develop after years lacking clarity. I'm just literally getting goosebumps from what you're saying here. It's just wonderful. I'm embracing my return to the UK after 16 years of international work. That's fantastic. So, yeah, that's good that you usually obtain what you want. Godfrey Dossett. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. I am someone who has inner happiness. That's wonderful. So thank you very much. Just quite a few statements there. And these are, yeah, they are, aren't they, Ada? They're wonderful. They're really, I am glad that you're participating as well. I really love that. Thank you very much for sharing those with me. And I understand if you're not ready to do that or you don't like the format, that's fine, that's okay. But as long as you are doing things in your own way, that's important to you. That's wonderful. Yeah, really fantastic. Yeah, I am on my way to finding myself after a separation. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. So thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I'm going to move on now. That's great. Well, if you can keep them coming as well, so I can read them all later after the session. So when we talk about where we want to go in life, sometimes there are barriers, there are internal barriers. So things that stop us, we think they're outside of us, we think that other things are stopping us, when in fact, it might be something that we are doing or something that we are thinking, our own behavior, that stops us. So when you think about your success or what you want, is there anything standing in your way? Is there anything that you are constantly or habitually, saying to yourself that that's blocking you or hindering you? So yeah, I'm not financially nor successful in a relationship, but I'm looking forward to be. So that might be a good question for you, Rita. Yeah, these are the blockers. So when you think about your success or what you want, if you're not where you want to be, what is stopping you? What is your internal barrier? What makes it so complicated or difficult for you to take that step forward? And maybe at the end of today, you can start having some new thoughts or, breaking it down just a little bit so that it's not so difficult. So when you think about your success or what you want, is there a way that you can start to move past these types of barriers so that you get to your spot, where you want to go? Yeah, reskilling, challenging up to fear. Yeah. And quite often when you say these things, these internal barriers, they're literally internal, and they're a fear of something that probably doesn't exist, that you are creating these falsities in your mind. These, they call them, if you want to call it limiting beliefs, but these falsities, and then we make these things so big that we really stop them from blocking you, from helping you move forward. And if you can just perhaps take a new perspective, then you can take that first step forward. And it can just be a small step forward, but something that will really help you to create what it is that you want. So redefining my life purpose is difficult. So I would ask you, why is it difficult? What's the reason it's difficult? So again, if you start drilling down on these, what are the internal barriers that you are placing there, consciously or subconsciously? So if you start identifying what the barriers are, you can start looking at ways to move past the barriers, because it's not really, probably not difficult. You might think it's difficult, but it's just because you don't have a plan or a way to move past it. Because you've been thinking it's difficult for so long, you can't see what you can do differently. So I invite you to have a look at what you've written or what's in your head about why things are difficult, and then identify it, name it. What is it that's stopping you? And what could you do to allow that to stop you? So calm, clarity, remember, that's what we're heading for. Calm, clarity for success on your terms is the name of the session, part 1. So what do you need to do to think more clearly? There's a first step. Do you need to do something on your own? Do you need to engage with someone? Do you need to write something down? Do you need to offload? What is it that you can do to get past your internal barrier or your internal blocker? So because when we start thinking about these, so I see the words coming here, redefining my life plan is difficult, focus. Yeah. Okay, so your case is so serious that you don't know the basis. So perhaps you need to talk it out, talk it to someone, talk it through with someone who is not judging you, but someone who's going to be open to listening to you and helping you or guiding you to your next step, Rita. Yeah, my barrier is myself. That's an internal barrier. So when you say my barrier is myself, Grace, what is it that is blocking you? Name it, write it down, put it into words. Don't have it in your head. Out of your head onto paper will really start helping you to see how real it is and what you can do to move past that blocker. My barrier is myself, to move past. That's what I mean by internal barriers. Often the barriers are us. We are the ones standing in our own way. It could be through the way you talk to yourself. It could be the company you keep. It could be your perspective. It could be your limiting thoughts, because your mind, your world is so small. You've created such a small world in terms of your thinking that you are not open to new perspectives and new opportunities. And yes, fear of failure, fear of change, all of these things are there. But again, there's that big question: what's the worst that can happen? So my internal barrier is, fear of failure and confidence. If I had a penny for every time someone said that to me: fear of failure, lack of confidence, fear of success, it's too big for me, I don't think I can manage it. All of these things are very, very common. But what happens is, so I've got a client at the moment, and she's gone through quite an interesting period of life where she's in a really great job, but she's so worried about being a leader that she says if they ask her to be promoted, she'll say no, because she feels like she's an imposter. She feels that she's not good enough. And it's really a fear of failure and the fear of success, that it might be too overwhelming. And when we've spoken together and we identified those small pieces of barriers, and I gave her some tools and asked some questions, she started realizing that everything she created was a figment of her imagination, literally something she'd been creating and building up for quite some time. You get overwhelmed, you get jumbled with your thoughts, and you start listening to yourself, thinking that what you're saying to yourself is correct. Maybe you can relate to this. There's a panic when you start fearing something: fear of success, fear of change, fear of not being in control. There might be a sense of panic. You might even, have a raised heart rate, not wanting to do things. So then you do nothing. You feel almost impaired, because you don't know what direction to go in. And these are all common issues, but you have two choices: do nothing, or start working on what it is that you can do. Because there's always something you can do. Perhaps you can't see it yet. That might be what's happening. So feeling worried, overwhelmed, moved us away from calm clarity. Again, this is why I wanted to run this session, because when you are so absorbed with what you can't do, how bad you feel, how bad it's going to be if I do X, then you just start feeling really worried and overwhelmed, and it moves you away from making decisions with a clear mind, because there's always something you can do. You just perhaps can't see it yet. You can't acknowledge what you can do, and maybe just a slight tweak in the way you're thinking will help you to make a decision and take a step forward. Just one little step forward, that's all you need to do. One step creates change, and then that will be followed by another step, which creates more change. So one small step creates quite a big impact down the line. But if you can find the space or the clarity to take that first step, then you can do something different, start seeing the world in some way differently. Because these are all the things that you've put there, every single thing that someone's put there, I think most of them anyway, not every single thing. We create obstacles. And that's what we do. The fear of success, fear of failure, fear of lacking confidence in what you do, fear to go in the wrong direction, fear of responsibility, all of these, my barrier is myself. They're obstacles that you've created. They're not obstacles anyone else has created. If all of the things that you said, I mean, maybe there's one of your bosses won't give you that pay rise, or they won't give you promotion. That part perhaps is external, but most of these things that you said to me are internal, and that means there's something you can do. That I've never yet met someone I've worked with who doesn't have control over their thoughts and their mindset when they're given opportunity, or given a new perspective, when someone helps them to get a new perspective. So here we are, it's perfect timing, changing perspectives. Now, each of you will have your own probably deepest, darkest history of what is going right or what's going wrong for you. I can't drill into that right now. This is a short session and I started late as well. So, but once we start opening this up to questions, perhaps you can get something that's personalized, that works for you, that works for yourself. So I just want to offer you a few things, a few tools, a few ideas to help you change perspective. So for those of you who listed fear as one of your things, fear is a worry. I'm stating the obvious here. 91% of what we worry over never happens. That's from Psychology Today. 91% of what we worry over never, ever happens. Sometimes even the outcome is even better than you would have imagined. So I'm just going to let you sit with that for a second. And I'll be quiet, but sit with that for a second and tell me what comes up for you when I put that statement there. 91% of what you worry about personally will never happen. And it might even be better than the outcome might be better than you think. So tell me what comes up for you in the chat box. Fantastic. Thank you, Rita. Wonderful. Yeah. Okay, Ada, a little bit more work for you. That's right. Thank you, Vera. So what you worry over, so 91% of, in fact, probably 91% of what you think about will never, ever happen. But I'm using this context because we're here to worry about, nobody's written lots of wonderful positive thoughts here. Most of it is what you're worried about. So Vera says 91% of the positive thoughts do not happen either. So yes, that's true. Thank you, Izzy. It's all in me. It's all in your power to control. So Vera, with your comment, so you've got the two choices. Positive thoughts don't happen or negative thoughts don't happen. So which one of them is causing you the most distress? Is it your positive thoughts or your worrying thoughts? Which causes most distress? So 9% can happen. Yeah. So, but the point is, it's a matter of perspective. So everything you're saying here is a matter of perspective. So I don't know about you, but I like to choose things that I can do to help me to feel better about myself. I don't look for things that make me feel even worse than I already do, because they're going to be there anyway. The stuff that you worry about, they're going to be there anyway. But do I want to attach myself to them? No, not in the slightest. So, and I'm not saying wave a magic wand and everything will be okay. It will need work. Sometimes it's very simple work. Sometimes it's very basic work. Because a lot of this worrying thoughts, they're habitual patterns. We get stuck in these same thoughts. And you can get stuck in positive thoughts as well, or positive behaviors. So again, it's about a perspective. Again, it's not a counseling session. I don't know your history. I don't know where you're coming from. You could have had things that are distressing in your earlier childhood. So, this is an hour session. So let's keep that in mind, that we're here to start thinking about, or for this session, what we can start doing on our journey to calm clarity. That's the hope of this session. It won't work for everyone, but hopefully those who are open will take something from this and perhaps see a slightly different perspective for this. And you can listen back to this session. Maybe you'll get something different from it when you hear it again. But yeah, these are different ways that you can start to look at having more clarity or calmness in your life, if that's where you want to be. If you don't want to be calm and you want to be full on because you've got a lot of energy, that's also fine. You can have a lot of energy and be calm as well. But that's what we're here for. So calm clarity, meaning you're making decisions with a calm, clear mind for things that work for you, that for things that you want in life. So the other thing is that when we worry about things, we somehow always manage with the resources we have or we can obtain. So we can always find the things that we need to help us get through. Obviously, there are circumstances where it becomes more difficult, but in general, we always manage to find the resources that we have, what we need. So if you focus on finding the resources that you need, whether it's help or support, maybe a good book, perhaps a podcast, a conversation, learning how to do something, these are all resources. So if there's something lacking that you in your life that you want, we can always find it. We can find it. We can dig into the recesses of our mind and find something. We can talk to someone else, ask someone who's done what we've done, what we want to do. We can always find the resources. If you focus on finding the resources, you will find it. So again, what you worry about, what you feel overwhelmed by, if you gently go at it with the mind of, I am resourceful, I can do this, I can find an answer, it might be difficult, but I will get there. Those types of things will really be helping you. But again, if you're stuck on, I can't do it, I don't want to do it, and that's where you want to stay, that is what you'll also get. So it's kind of up to you about the perspective that you take on the start of your journey. And that's where it's important. The daily habits that you seek, the daily habits that you undertake are important. So depending on what you want. So again, this is success on your terms, whatever that looks like to you, not to me. We all have different wants and needs. So what daily habits do you take on board? What daily habits are helping you or hindering you? You know, I got into this habit last year of I go to the gym pretty much every morning, or I exercise at home. And I started using my phone, as I used to watch things on my phone whilst I was exercising. And if it was a good Netflix thing, I kept getting into it. And so instead of exercising, I was like, oh, I wonder what happened next. So I got distracted by the what I was watching. And to me, that doesn't warrant a healthy habit, because you know, I'm supposed to be exercising, but no, I'm watching a movie. It was fun sometimes, but I had to realize I was doing that. So I had to kind of make a pact with myself that I would stop doing that and just go back to listening to music, which also pumps me up when I am exercising. So that's just a little side story there. So daily habits are imperative for your success mindset, or for what you want out of life. If you know, whatever it is that you want that is important to you, your values, your relationships, your finances, you know, the daily habits you build on are important for that. So I would ask you to, in the decision making, so you've heard quite a bit today, and it's quite deep. I didn't go light and airy. You know, choose one thing that you want, that's important to you, that is a priority for you, and you know, it's important enough to you. Choose one thing. Don't try and do them all, because that's when you also get overwhelmed. So choose one thing that you want to change. It could be a really small daily thing, daily habit, and see if you can do that for tomorrow and the day after and a few days time. Do it for a week, you know, whatever it is that you need to do, and then stretch it out to a month, stretch it out to 2 months, but change that one thing and just stick to that one thing until you nail it, until you get it perfect, or perfect, whatever perfect means, till you get it right, or till you get it, you're happy with it, or you're satisfied. Do that one thing with your decision making. Just choose one thing. make sure whatever's important to you and prioritize it over other things. And then I want you to be specific with this one. And you can tie this in. What is it that's holding you back from your calm clarity? And you said fear of failure, but I want you to drill down on what fear of failure looks like. What does it look like to you? You can do this. You'll need some more thoughts. You can take a screenshot of this. What is holding you back? Put a name to it, make it specific. So, I don't know, say you want a promotion. What's holding you back from promotion? Is it being more visible at work? So can you put a name to it? Are you being less visible because you fear failure? So if you said fear of failure, what does that look like? What is the specific task that you are not doing that is holding you back or holding you back from experiencing calm clarity? So what's holding you back? You might need some more time to think about that. Take a picture, snapshot, screenshot, or listen to the recording. Yeah. So what's holding you back? Lack of clarity, being successfully financially. So what is the specific thing that's holding you back with that? Name it. You can't get a job. They won't give you more money. They won't promote you. Okay. And with the low self-esteem, what does that look like? So let's start drilling down. What does low self-esteem look like? Can't get a job. Okay. So you've been working previously, but you can't get a job at the moment. Okay. And low self-esteem. Sorry, that's not you, but daily routines. Okay. So you can't get any job or the job you want. But we'll talk about that in a second when we go to the, if you're okay with opening up the job, you're right, the job you want. Okay. So you've got a job or, yeah. Cool. So when you start saying what's holding you back or you can't get the job, how long have you been trying to get it? Have you positioned yourself in the right place? Are you talking to the right people? Have you put yourself out there? Have you tried non-conventional ways of getting that job? So this is where you start exploring what else you can do to get what you want. So that's just a classic example. With the daily routines, we've got to start somewhere with a starting point. But lacking focus, putting things off, procrastinating. Yeah, these are all common blockers, internal barriers. So I'm gonna move into, because I'm conscious of the time. So from today's session, I would like for you to identify 3 things that are important enough for you. So I said to gain calm clarity, but maybe for you is to stop procrastinating. Maybe for you is lacking focus. Perhaps you're not passionate enough about something. Yeah, that's a common one, procrastinating. You start with all the other topics rather than the main project that you need to do. So what 3 things you can do? If you can only find one, that's also fine. From today's session, I will identify 3 things that I can do to help me. And you insert your goal, you insert your priority, what's important to you. So start here again. We're going to choose one thing that you're going to do differently. Number 1. And then you're going to work on what's currently holding you back from experiencing this wonderment of life. And then 3 things you can do. So if you've got one goal that's important, what are the 3 things you can do to head towards that goal? If that doesn't make sense, I will clarify that for you in a second. But basically, you want to choose a high level thing that you want to change, And then you want to identify 3 things below that as a subtask or tasks, steps to take you towards that higher overarching goal, and work on the things that are blocking you. So I'm hoping that was good for you. I appreciate this is not everyone's cup of tea, and you may not get anything from this, but that's okay. As long as the majority have, I'm okay with that. So if you have a specific question that you have that has not been answered here, I will be able to help you. You can drill into detail. It's quite difficult to go into personal stuff on these calls. You're welcome to send me a question. I'm very good at writing, and I'm very good at reading between the lines. So you can send me an email or a message there. And then I'm going to switch off the recording now, and I'm going to open up for questions. And sometimes just one thing will help you change your perspective. So we're going to open up to Q&A, and stop recording. There we go.